Tim.
All right, we're live, great. My name's Tim Roach, I'm the director of the Rockingham Planning Commission. I have,
Dave Walker, I'm the Assistant Director of the Planning Commission and manage the transportation program.
I was here about a year ago. I just try to get around every year to check in, say hello, make sure things are going okay, and for the benefit of new selectmen, remind them or tell them about what we're all about. So most of you have been here for last year. I think, Richard, you're probably the only new selectman, so I'll try to give you the Reader's Digest version of the RPC. But
I'm very aware of what you do.
oh, then perfect. I don't have to go into it too much. Then that's great. So,
Update the viewers anyways.
well, there's a couple of things I wanted to chat about real quick. But I'll come back to this first one. But listening to that discussion of regionalization, being a regional planning commission, I think we may have something we can maybe help with on that. But before that, I wanted to also thank you for appointing Glenn and Peter again back in July. It's very helpful. I got to see that meeting via your webcast of that, which was good. Part of that discussion, I noticed that you were thinking, well, why do we pay the RPC if we've got a planner and Glenn Greenwood, who is terrific, one of the best land use planners in the region and the state. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit in the sense that it fits into that regional conversation that you're having. There's more to the RPC than just that local land use board support. You can think of us as a resource for a lot of ways. Transportation is the big one that we're involved with. And being part of this organization, on the flip side, I should really do this in a different color, but the side that says Metropolitan Planning Organization, you support the work that we do to move transportation projects forward. So without the support of the 27 communities in the region that do support helps us match the federal dollars that get transportation programs funded into the Transportation Improvement Program, and once they get into this document, into that Transportation Improvement Program, that's when you start getting pavement on the ground, not only in Kingston, but all around the region. And so we can't do that without the support of the community. So that's, I just want to make sure that everyone understands that it's a little bit more than just that local land use support. It goes into that regional level where we all use the transportation system. A couple of things that tie into that is the work that Dave does on the 125 advisory committee. It supports that work as well and keeps us moving in that direction. So does that make sense in terms of what the dues is for and what we use it for? And I can give you a breakdown of how it goes if you'd like that. It would help. It's just, you pay about $6,000 in dues, give or take.
What's it based on? A dollar per resident?
Dollar per capita, yeah. That's how and that's across all the communities. So you got communities with 800 people, you got communities with 25, 30,000 almost in Salem now. So it's a big range in each community. But we have to use about half of that to match the transportation work. And that leaves me with, in your case, about $3,000 that I can use to help you directly or do some regional work. A couple of examples of the regional work is the electricity aggregation. I know, Kevin, you were involved in that.
Which my question will be, where are we at with that? Because I haven't heard anything back.
You should have an email, and I'll check, but if you're not on that list. But we are moving forward. We got bids back just recently, just last week. So we're going to move forward and try to get that group together and select a low bidder if it works for everybody in the group, and hopefully get you guys a good deal on electricity that'll save you, a good chunk of that dues back in your pocket is what I'm hoping. So that is moving forward, and you should hear something. Check your email again, or I'll make sure you're on the appropriate email list, because it is coming up really soon.
Okay.
So those are the types of things that we can use dues for and try to make sure that you guys have what you need. On the issue of regionalization that I was hearing a lot about, I know there's a lot of operational issues related to fire departments and things like that we're not experts on. But we could certainly do some research and find out where this has worked, where it hasn't worked. I can tell you for sure I've heard from Stratham, Raymond, that come to mind, both from the town administrator level, not the selectmen directly. I said, we gotta talk about regionalization.
For the fire service?
Some for fire service, a couple have been talking about it for, Department of Public Works. You know, Raymond doesn't wanna buy a grader, they wanna share a grader with somebody.
Talk about police.
The police and, the police and fire ones are the ones that draw a lot of emotion, because it's life and death, right? So, yeah, so people get concerned about that, but there is that conversation going on at the regional level, and I've been asked a couple of times, can we pull a group together? And hearing this, I'm like, yeah, we can do that. We could help facilitate that discussion, and we can help do some research. I don't think it's gonna happen in the timeframes I was hearing in that 1 or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I think this would take some time, but it probably makes a lot of sense to know that you're not all alone, and there's an entity that could perhaps help facilitate that discussion.
I think part of the reason why it's kind of being driven now is because a lot of communities have really only had the burden of volunteer or call fire, and because volunteerism seems to be dying, all of a sudden you could be looking at huge costs to the communities that they haven't experienced in the past. And, like apparatus, I mean, as opposed to a patrol car at $30,000, it's a $500,000 piece of apparatus. So it's substantial outlays of funds. And then there's communities putting up, $5 million buildings for fire departments. I think that's kind of what's driving it. A lot of those, they haven't had those big costs in the past.
You're absolutely right. The volunteerism is a big deal. Newcastle is really struggling, being such a small town, aging population. Just people aren't there to man the station, so they're going to have to look to Portsmouth in the short term to help them out. Another thing that comes up is you say building stations. Where do you put them, right? One of the travel demand model software that we use for our traffic analysis can actually do response time analysis. And when I worked out in the Nashua region, we did this for the town of Hudson, where they were looking to build a second station and either maintain or do something with their first station. And we looked at, if you placed them here, we got all their call data. We could help them figure out what the optimal location was using this traffic software. And it's Transcat is what we use.
Yeah, Transcat can do that.
So there's another thing that we could potentially help out with. So, yeah, that was, partly just checking in my annual visit, and also just want to make sure you guys understood that, that we can do more than just that local planning. I know you guys are in good hands with Glenn. Not worried about that at all, but there's certainly more we can do to help you out.
Have any questions, Bob?
No, it was, the only question I had was the co-op buy-in that I think we talked about, we are interested, we're looking to see what the cost will be, but I'll wait for the email.
Yeah, definitely. I'll make sure you have that tomorrow, because we're
And you said you're gonna send it, and then we're gonna meet again as a group?
the group is supposed to meet again,
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll make sure we can get you involved in that.
Okay.
And then that's where, at that point, they're gonna make a decision as to whether or not the bids are good and
Yeah.
who they wanna choose, so.
Now, do you attend, I noticed from DOT sent us, it looks like we have the 2021 to 2030 10-year plan from DOT, and there's a meeting in Kingston at the library on 10/28/19 at 6 p.m. Are you pretty much attending all those for the Rockingham County?
Yeah, do you wanna take that?
Yeah, we have a presence at all the events in our region, and I think there are five this year, or this round, including the one in Kingston at the very last hearing. Councilor Prescott will be running it, and it's a great opportunity for folks in town to come out and learn about the projects that are happening around the region, including the project here on the Plastow Kingston border. That last piece of that 125 quarter study that was done almost 20 years ago now. I believe actually 20 years ago now. So it's the last
The
piece.
10-year plan, 20 years ago.
Yeah. They didn't quite put enough money in originally, in the early days. They're doing a better job of that now. Things are progressing on more of a schedule, and so that, and you know, I've been sitting on the advisory committee for that project. And so it seems like there's some progress being made. I know they're planning to come back to the community this fall, some public outreach on that. But getting a plug-in for projects and regional and local interests at these 10-year plan hearings is never a bad choice. There are often legislators in attendance, and we and the DOT encourage legislators to attend. To learn about what's happening on the ground and what's planned, and where they might be able to hear some folks bringing up topics that they maybe don't hear in other places.
2 years ago, we had a hearing here as well, at the library, and actually I think the Epping Board of Selectmen noticed the public meeting and all came to it because they had a project in there that they wanted to make sure was addressed, and it was an effective strategy. I think they got to Councilor Prescott, and they made sure they got their project addressed. And all the work we do for the 2 years leading up to these hearings is sort of culminates in the development of that 10-year plan. We work to help find those priorities with the communities and the DOT, and that's what those hearings that are coming up are about. That's really our role in the process. So.
Yeah, so the hearings have about a half an hour to 45 minutes of presentation at the beginning, and then it's open to comment from whoever is interested in making any comments about any projects that are in the 10-year plan, projects that people believe should be in the 10-year plan and aren't, and anything like that, any other concerns people have about transportation. So.
Okay. Any questions for Tim or Dave?
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thanks for coming in, give us an update.
I appreciate your support, I really do. Thanks.
Look at that, we're back, almost on track.
Got you back on schedule too?
Mr. Broderick. Coming in to give us an update on the mosquito
Yeah,
vector control.
well, Vector, Triple E. If you recall, about 3 weeks ago, I was here, and they voted to spray, and I said I'd be back in 3 weeks. Well, 3 weeks have passed. I talked to Sarah McGregor, she's the president of Dragon Mosquito today. As you may or may not know, there was a positive hit for Triple E in Hampstead. She suggested that we do, in fact, do another spraying. She is very concerned, not only in saying I'm very concerned, but just her tone of voice told me something. She said there's a significant increase in the mosquito that carries the Triple E in this area. And she didn't play that down at all. I asked her how much. She said $800, and that'll take care of the 3 fields. That's the dog park, Como Field, and the Plains. I did not call the state on this one because Sarah said that although they've sent mosquitoes to the state, they haven't got them back yet. And I expected, and she expected to hear back by Friday, today at the latest. But they're very, very busy. So to call them to me was, they haven't told her yet. They haven't called me yet, so I'm sure they haven't got answers. My recommendation would be, the chances are very, very, very small that somebody would get Triple E, but the consequence is very, very large if they do. Your call.
You said that includes spraying the dog park,
I believe the same 3 as we did last time.
dog park, Como, and the
And the Plains.
All right, I'd be curious on the plains, because I had a conversation with Sarah for the bonfire about spraying it, and she told me she ended up doing 1 treatment around the plains, but she said it's pretty much useless because there's no border.
I'm only going with what she said and what we did last time. She said, wait a second, she went to the invoice, she gave me the price, and I believe those were the 3 fields.
Okay, because again, I would ask her because she told me the plains, unlike anywhere else you sprayed, it contains it with trees and that. The plains, there's no border, and she basically told me it's functionally useless, but she donated 1 spray for the bonfire, but she said it's...
just to jog your memory, if you recall, there was a gentleman that had, Canyon, Jamestown Canyon, thank you. Jamestown Canyon and Paswan, I believe, pronounce it. And we believe there's a very good chance, now there's a heck of a sentence, isn't there, that it was contracted on the plains. Only
would
because we
challenge
know
that
the gentleman walks the plains a lot.
I would challenge that statement right off the bat.
Well, all I'm saying is we do know we had someone with those two viruses. We do know that he walks the plains significantly.
He
And
also lives where?
he lives, I believe, on Main Street.
You got a
I'm
backyard.
giving you the information. I'm not making your decision. I'm just giving you the information,
Yep.
you know.
And I think because we didn't have any activity at Magnuson,
We didn't do Magnuson because there's no activity there.
Yeah.
And I did talk to the school today. She was more concerned about Newton. I don't want to play that too high. This is Kingston. And when I say she, Sarah. The school, I believe, is going to contact Dragon Mosquito and discuss with them, and they will probably spray. I told them it was my recommendation as the health officer, whatever that carries, you know.
So
But
when our
they will
traps-
certainly talk to her.
So in our traps, we haven't had any hits, right?
No, but she's very concerned with the species of mosquito because it carries triple E. You know, but we haven't had any hits. But I believe there was one locally where a horse went down. I can't remember what it was.
Sandown's the one that had it.
You know, but again, like I say, the chances are very small, but the consequence is pretty big.
So when did we sign off for them to do the craft fair? What's that date?
October 11th.
5th and 6th,
8th and 9th or something, it's that first weekend.
And how long does this stuff last? Should we not be doing it?
3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks anyway, you know. I mean, I didn't get a date from her, but she said as soon as, she recommended soon. She really impressed on me, not only telling me, but her tone of voice that this probably should be done. I wouldn't bring that to you if I didn't think something was going on.
So how many people did the young lady indicate that were gonna be on the planes for those 2 days?
A lot.
But it's off after 6 o'clock. I think it ends at 6.
I think that did come up, is it doesn't start until 9, 10 in the morning and it's done by 4 o'clock, so.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a huge threat there, but what do we have budgeted for this? I mean, don't we have a,
It's October 5th and 6th, and it's 8:30 to 4 p.m.
On Saturday, Sunday is even less. It's like
Right.
10 to 2 or something.
Yeah.
I think the budget was, I forget the line off the top of my head, I think it was somewhere in the vicinity of 34,000.
I don't recall, I probably
8:30
should
to
have done
4
that.
Saturday and 10 to 4 Sunday.
I think there was a couple of thousand, usually a couple of thousand there for adulticide spraying.
Yeah, I mean, I put it together, but I almost want to say $4,000, but don't hold me to
Instead
that.
of the larvicide, which they,
Well, that includes, I believe, the larvicide.
that's in the 34.
I mean, we have a contingency in there for this specific case.
I can tell you a number of people use the planes every day, walking their animals.
Oh, there's a lot of people walking their dog.
Well, and the cross-country team still runs there, right?
How much? 8.2 thousand.
I think they had their only one, but yeah, they still run their practice, yeah.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
I would say we should spray it,
That a motion?
yes.
Second.
Discussion? You're suggesting we spray what?
What he's requesting.
The
Plains?
dog park thing, we know that's very used a lot,
There's a lot of water down there.
and there's a lot of water down there.
Plains and Como Field?
Como Field and the plains,
I think the activity at the Como Field's gonna be upticking, with the football
Yes.
I believe.
soon. But we wanna reiterate that they shouldn't be down there after dusk anyways,
Right.
even though we are spraying.
I'm not sure if they're going now, but I'll check with Susan tomorrow, and if they are using the fields, I'll take a ride down some night to,
Because in the
Like
past, we ran into an issue where they had headlights on the field, and we definitely want to discourage that. Even if we are spraying. I mean, we should be encouraging them to be in long sleeves and
Oh, yeah.
using insect repellent and
I'm kind of
taking
out of the loop as far as
personal-
using those fields, but that's why I'll check with
personal
Susan
protection.
tomorrow.
So the football team is practicing every night here.
I'm sorry?
They are there every night.
Okay, so they are there now.
Yeah, we have.
I'll take a drive down tomorrow around
Okay.
6 or so.
Any other discussion? Those in favor of, spending the $800 to spray the plains and I think it was Como Field?
Como Fields and the dog park and the
And the
plains.
dog. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention?
Okay. I will keep in touch with Sarah. Hopefully I will not be back.
Okay, could you try to get a little bit of a clarification on the effectiveness of it for the plains?
Yep,
Since
yeah,
there
sure,
was some
sure. And I'll let you
Question
know.
on that?
Yeah, before he goes, if I could allow me for old business, the state offered to come in to do a forum for PFAS. We said a Wednesday, it's coming up on October. I did check the school board meets the first and third Wednesdays of the month, so I don't think we want to do those days. But I would say the 9th or 23rd, if we want to hold a forum, we need to get that booked and start letting people know. So what's the board's preference, the 9th or 23rd? What?
What was that on?
To have the state come in to open it up to Newton residents and Kingston residents that had their questions answered on PFAS. Or PFAS, or any of that.
Yeah, so an informational,
Information.
I'm confused about what you want me to do.
I'm just here, I would hope you would be here as a health
Oh, I'll be
officer.
here, yes.
Okay, you said the state wasn't gonna come, I called the state
Yeah,
and give
I
them a
was
hard
gonna say, that's
time,
why I
the
thought
state
you took
said,
care of it, yeah.
nope, that was a misinformation, we'd be more than happy to come. So while you're here as a health officer, I wanna pick a day so you can start letting people know.
Well, I think, what I would do is I would go to Susan and have her put it on the website. I don't go on the website, only a few
yeah,
people are
so
allowed there.
Susan's the point of contact, firming it up?
Yep,
Yeah.
So the dates are what, the 9th or the 23rd?
yeah, that's what I would suggest.
My vote would be the 23rd, because I've already got 3 meetings.
I'm not gonna be around the 23rd, but that's fine.
October 23rd.
Doesn't matter to me.
I mean, it's not for the, I mean, it's just for information for the residents, but I think we should be there too. I mean, we have a lot of questions and, you know,
I'm gonna be out of town the
Okay.
23rd, but.
but does the 23rd work? Okay.
So you want a meeting here with Newton and send it out to Newton and who else?
Yep, you can let the Newton Board of Selectmen know.
And the Kingston residents, putting
Yep.
in information on
Oh,
question and answer session with the state.
Maybe Newton could put it on their website as well.
Yeah, and we could probably put something, a letter in the Carriage Town News, just saying.
Now, am I correct that you're gonna schedule that because you talked to them?
Yeah. You'll be around on the 23rd?
Pardon?
You'll be around on the 23rd?
Oh, yeah, no, that's not a problem, yeah.
Okay. Anything else for, Pete? How's everything going, all right?
So far, so good. Busy this
Busy?
year has been phenomenal with construction. You know, unbelievable septic systems going
You
in.
need anything from us?
No, everything's okay.
Okay, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
I'm gonna take this opportunity on our agenda, to open up for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak, we allow 3 minutes. Hearing none. Update on, the Bresnahan tree replacement / bond. They're gonna be in on, September 23rd?
Yeah. Charlie Zilch, you can,
So, Rich, Dennis, and I met with them on Thursday of last week to look at the areas that have been cut, and kind of give them some guidance as far as developing a plan. There's multiple goals that are trying to be achieved here. One is to reestablish the screening that the cut down trees had. And after being on site, my personal opinion of it was, and I think Rich agreed with me on this, was that we would aim for some 6 to 10 foot trees on the outer perimeter of the cut areas, and then put with a 50-50 mix between hardwoods and conifers, so that we would have a visual screen in place all year, at a density of roughly 10 to 15 feet apart, and then, which is a pretty thick density. And then inside of that area, probably about 2 to 3 rows in, more of like a 15 to 20, 25 foot density, just to kind of give, because the thing that's happening is there is some good brush growing up right now, so that's beneficial to the wildlife, and that also does have screening activity. It is incumbent upon the landowner to come up with the plan. His engineering firm was there, and they're gonna develop a comprehensive plan, and, so,
Presented on they're coming in the 23rd to
yeah,
present
I
that?
believe it's gonna be yeah, when they're here on the 23rd, that's what Charlie was aiming for, is to have that plan there, so. Unfortunately, just making them put up a bunch of tall trees, I don't think is gonna,
Accomplish what we're trying to do.
yeah, I think we can I mean, we're not gonna satisfy all parties, but, you know, we're not gonna replace 100-year-old trees, but I think this will get us where we wanna be quicker, and get the land back to, at least not an eyesore status, so.
What was the landowner's flavor? You just said your recommendation, did they seem like they were receptive?
Well, that's what they were looking for, and I think they were, I mean, we certainly could have gone in there and demanded that they plant trees every 10 feet.
Yeah.
And given the terrain and the conditions out there, I don't think that really would have gotten us where we wanted to be. That was my personal opinion on it, and I apologize for not
Did
inviting.
you get any input from any of the abutters, any concerns?
I have not, you know,
We haven't had any complaints or anything?
Not in the office.
Just the deviation from the plan, we didn't really hear from the abutters, it's just brought to our attention by our engineer saying that they didn't follow.
I mean, there are some residents who have expressed concern, and then, you know, the planning board obviously had concerns because the limit of cut was breached, but,
But we've actually had not abutters, residents?
no abutters have
Expressed
contacted, no,
concern?
and
Okay,
they're more than welcome to do that.
all right, well, thanks for the update. We'll see what they have to say on the 23rd. New business. We got an email on, what is it, Frontage Road? I didn't see that. Was there something in our packet, Susan?
Yes, it's an email that says it's an ongoing problem that is growing.
I got it.
You got it?
About the trash. It's about the trash, right?
The trash personnel will not take certain items that have been illegally dumped by unknown people. At one point, a plastic
That's,
pool containing carpet remnants as well as other debris had been there for months. Not sure what happened to that, as I am sure it wasn't taken by the trash company. Now several bags of debris piling up with orange stickers. Not sure who is going to read the stickers, as whoever is doing this isn't coming back.
so that's been a constant problem. We actually-
Whose property is it? Is it the
It's actually,
town's?
it's on town property there. So
Okay.
it's actually, we put a deer camera out there. Tried to angle it correctly, but, it keeps getting the Route 125 traffic, so
Haven't
Rich.
got any perpetrator yet? No?
No. So Rich and I were looking at a different spot to relocate that to, so we could put the deer camera back out again.
I'm not pointing fingers, but this wasn't as big a problem prior to the dog park.
That's what they talked about.
Yeah.
That's the sticker. So.
This is where the boat was left?
There's a solution that I believe may help rectify this. This would be to move the trash area to Frontage Road
Right.
by the stop sign. It is out in the open, which may prevent the illegal dumping as it is not hidden. I'd invite any member of the board to look at this and see for themselves what I and other residents must look at each time we travel to our property.
It is a mess.
It's a mess we've cleaned up before, 2 or 3 times, you know. Keep coming back. I've got my phone there, there's 4 or 5 pictures of what they're
Big
talking
thing of
about.
construction stuff is,
If we move it over there, we can put a deer camera that doesn't catch traffic on 125 as well.
Who's all the barrels belonging to, the residents?
yeah,
There's, I think there's 5 residents that live further down Green Road, on Lake Road and Green Road South, I believe. They bring their trash up to that corner, and then there's, if you get out straight down Frontage Road, there's, 1 or 2 residents there that bring their trash out to that corner. So,
Okay.
one of the things we talked about, Dawn and myself, in a private conversation, was, Green Road is, you know, well-maintained. It's plowed, sanded, salted. There's a big turnaround area about a mile further in. So if the residents that live down there by the pond could have a trash pickup spot where that turnaround is, and then the folks, the other 2 folks will at least know who's leaving the mess. We talked about moving the other spot up to the stop sign by Folly Brook Road and Frontage Road. It's right there. You can see whoever's dumping, you can see it from 125. Right now, you get a cold dark spot that no one sees. People just dump stuff there. It could be a resident, could be someone going back and forth to the dog park, or it could be anyone else that just has realized that it's a easy spot to get rid of trash.
Desolate area that
Yep. We don't know who it
it's
is.
getting hard to dispose of this stuff, they don't wanna pay for it, so they just throw it on the side of the road.
Yep.
I guess I don't get the relocating where the residents put their trash, how that's gonna improve the situation.
That's the dark spot. Well, it's gonna divide it, so if the people down near the lake, if you keep going down straight, there's a turnaround almost to where they live. And the trash truck can get up in there pretty easily. The other people live out near 125, it needs to come out of there because that's where everybody's dumping it. And if we move it out into a more public place, I can also put a deer camera there.
That's going under the assumption that, well, I guess that would be operating under the assumption that these people are putting it, whoever's putting it there are under the belief that the trash company's gonna take it,
That's correct,
which they're not.
that's correct.
No, if you look at the bags of trash, they're clearly, Waste Management has marked them as we don't pick up this kind of building debris and dispose of it properly, I think is what the sticker says.
Yep.
And then people just putting it there and leaving it there.
It's been there for at least a month.
There's a lot of traffic every day that goes up and down that road, believe me. And Dog Park gets a lot of traffic.
Okay. So do you wanna, what are you suggesting? We reach out to Waste Management and ask them to change the pickup stops?
Two of them, relocate 2 of them.
Okay. Do we wanna have Susan do that? Do you wanna contact them?
Sure, we can call them and tell them where we'd like to move them to. The one nearest Route 125, we wanna move so I can get a deer camera in there, so it doesn't catch traffic on 125.
So we'll have to contact them and the residents and let them know that the pickup spot, is that gonna create issues for them or will make it easier for them
The folks down by the lake will make it easier. They got a lot less
to carry out?
distance to carry this stuff.
And how about the other one?
Be a little bit further,
Do they,
put it in the car anyway.
right.
are they putting it there by vehicle or are they rolling the cans out to where they are now?
No, not a clue.
It's not that much further either.
300 feet.
All right. So do you wanna reach out to them or do you?
Sure, we both can, yeah.
What? Anybody got any objection to that? Okay, could you, contact Sean and let him know that, we're gonna be
Change the spot.
relocating the we wanna before you do that, let's make sure Waste Management doesn't have an issue with it, and if they're receptive to it, then I assume he's one of the residents, right?
Yeah.
I don't know who the person is that wrote the letter. I haven't seen it. Actually, Susan did show it to me, I'm sorry.
He doesn't give an address, but
Sean Sharonek? How you pronounce that?
Not sure.
Okay. We have a special events permit request.
did, anyone from Beaky Farm talk to you or the fire department and said he had talked to them, but I never got any information about plans or, 100 people coming to a dinner again, so,
This is for something on their own site?
yep,
They're gonna do that?
I think is it the same thing that was done in the past?
yeah.
Yeah, it's
He said
small.
he's talked to fire, and last time that was the thing they needed to do, so, but
Yeah.
I just don't have anything.
They've got plenty of parking, it's well off the road, it's not a hazard in any way for me.
Okay, I think,
They did the same thing last year, right?
yeah, I think we need to, when they do the application, I think it's incumbent on them to pursue the fire department, the police department, and get a sign off on it.
Absolutely, that's what I was waiting for. He said on the phone that he'd already spoken to them, and I said, I need something to show you, but I didn't get it by tonight.
Okay. And it's for September 29th?
Yeah.
Did you have any objection?
No, I went down and looked at the site last year. They've got plenty of parking and, good sight distance coming out of there.
Okay. Does anybody have any objection to issuing the special event permit?
As long as the three wise men, with the rubber mask on it, sign off on it.
Is it still the three wise men? We lost one of them.
Well, he's the newest wise man, who's under training.
We did the full walk last year through the barn and property and what have
Okay.
you.
Could be cocaine, I don't know what it is.
Could be a tic tac. Could be a tic tac.
No, it's got numbers on it.
Is it?
Committee liaison report. Anything to share with us?
I have a couple things, one of which I'd like to speak about in non-public.
Okay.
But a couple things that came up in the inspectors meeting was doing a after-action review on the 325th. And I think that would dovetail into the bonfire as well. We've had two pretty major events in town this year, and I think there's some lessons that we can take from that. So I just want to put that on everyone's radar. I'd like to maybe do another working session like we did this evening, you know, where we meet at 6 and just kind of hammer it out for an hour and get that there. And then this kind of matches what we're just talking about, is just updating the special events process, or the permit process. So similar to, you know, if we're gonna have over X amount of people on the plains for an event, we need to have a number that's triggered this process, and then what people have to do to, at what level
Seek
does it?
permission.
Yeah, at what level does it rise to the selectmen? Over X amount of people, I think one of the numbers thrown around was over 150 people, it should be a permitted event, or, you know, and then,
Fees.
what's that?
Fees.
Yeah, and then fees associated with it, as well as, you know, detailed numbers. So, not to say that Dawn comes up with them arbitrarily, but Susan can give an answer to someone who comes in and says, I'm gonna have 2,000 people for this event, what would I be looking at for? Well, typically, you're gonna need 4 detail guys, you're gonna need your own ambulance, you're gonna need this, you're gonna need that, and that way, you know, we can streamline the process, moving forward. So those are 3 things I'd like to see, and I guess I'll follow up with, our department heads to kind of pull together a meeting for that. Looks like or sounds like we got a full dance card next week, but maybe the following week we can schedule something.
Okay,
And I forgot my notes from the inspectors meeting, and I had one other thing, but I can't remember it, so. But we're meeting every other week, so this upcoming week is the inspectors meeting, just so everyone's aware, if anyone would like to attend from the board.
Thursday, is it 8?
8 AM, yes. You can also just let me know, I can send you the agenda, trying to get that sent out the night before, so you can know at least what's gonna be talked about. That's what it was. I would like to have Dennis Quintal attend at least once a month. I think he's got some issues that come up in his inspections for the planning board, of ongoing projects that I think, you know, he would be a valuable insight in that. I guess the biggest question is where that money would come from for him to attend, because he would be compensated for that. I didn't know if the board would be amenable to allowing me to invite him and kind of figure out where we pull the money from, or if we wanted to discuss that.
How's the inspector's line doing, budget-wise?
Couldn't tell you. It's Kevin's department. I just spend the money, I don't pay attention to it.
Actually, we're coming up on quarterly, we should be getting a report from Cindy.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a good place to take it from if that's.
Yeah, and yeah, that's a good idea.
Although they've had a
But
lot
for
of-
this upcoming week, would it be okay if I had him come in and at least to start?
How long typically does the meetings go?
I try to keep it under 45 minutes.
Okay. I don't think, I'm sure we can find the money for an hour's worth of his time to update us on a monthly basis.
And the reason I want to do that is it allows him to hear other issues that people are having on the site. If there's many symptoms of a problem, usually,
Sure.
you know, it keeps us communicating, so.
Yep.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any objection to that?
No, I think it's a good idea.
Anything else on
Yeah, just to,
department updates?
the Envision Kingston group is on the agenda for October 21st. They're gonna come in and go over 79E, which I think is in.
Preservation easement, right?
Yeah, great form. It's lined up pretty good and it just needs a little bit of fine tuning. And if anybody wants to,
They're looking to put that, on the ballot again?
yeah, and they're looking for our support to put it on the ballot.
Okay. And you say they addressed most of the questions that were raised?
I think all the questions have been addressed as far as I can tell, and, it's in, I mean, I don't see how it could be a no, but that's just an opinion.
Okay.
Budget committee is meeting not this Sunday, but next Sunday. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. We're gonna look at applications that we've had. I'll have Cindy prepare a package. We'll get a time frame going for a calendar. But it's gonna be a slow go this year. I mean, I'm rusty. I only did it last year. But there's no one with any history on it, so we gotta vote a chairman, set a calendar. We'll get there. But
We did have a request for an appointment. We holding on that?
yeah, we're waiting on that, because I figured, let the committee decide who they wanna put on
Okay.
there. It's probably gonna be that person. But we should see, but there might even be 2 openings, I think. I don't know, we gotta figure that out.
All right.
And then I did have a, quick conversation with Graham, the other day. If you didn't know, there were 2 resignations, from the fire department.
I see we have one here in writing.
Oh, I didn't know there was okay. But I'll take a look at that after. But anyways, yeah, so I think things are moving forward and all is well. I think, Graham definitely got a task in front of him, but I think he's up for it.
I think we have one written resignation from Deputy Chief Richard Fowler. Wishing the department well, and thanking the town for the opportunities he has been given. And we want to thank any member that has given us 18 years of service, recognize that and thank them for pitching in and helping out while they could. And I think we also had, did we?
Marty Conlon gave a verbal, I don't know if it was written or not, but Marty Conlon did resign.
I haven't seen a written one. And again, you know, anybody who has made any type of voluntary commitment to the town for a number of years, we appreciate that. Anything else?
That's all I have.
All right, I'll take this opportunity to open up for second opportunity for public comment.
So just to let you know, I won't be here next Monday. I've got another meeting to be at. Leave it like that. I'll be discussing or sending you all a schedule that I'll be following for the next month. It's pretty well set in stone. Obviously, I'm not gonna discuss it on public TV.
Yeah, sure.
Next Monday night, there should be 5 to 7, maybe 9, as many as 9 bids on the Nichols building for the masonry work. What I've got set up is, you guys are gonna open the bids next Monday night. They're due in by, I think, 12 noon this Friday. Next Monday, just open the bids up, announce the numbers and the bidders. Ernie Landry will be here. He's gonna take those packets from you or from Susan, and he's going to run them up to SFC Tuesday morning. And we should have a recommendation for an award the following Monday.
You got 5 bids though? Or you anticipate, I should say,
Anticipating.
that would be good.
Yep. So that's kind of what's gonna happen. I'm sorry I'm not gonna be here, but that's just the way timing is. And that's it. Gentlemen?
Thank you.
Thank you. Correspondence. Appointment for Graham Pellerin to the Fire Station Building Committee, taking over for
Bill.
our retiring chief.
It's kind of an automatic.
Should be another one there too, right?
Fire warden is in.
Fire ward as well.
Okay.
There aren't enough signature lines, but it's a state form that he sent in.
I'm very sensitive about
I
that.
know. That's-
What's the date, the 9th?
9th, yeah.
There were none.
9/9/19, huh? Museum Committee?
Those are 2 that you wanted them to come in. I let Ruth Albert know, but I,
Haven't heard anything?
not yet.
Okay. There's also if anybody wants to take a look at it, there's a comment sheet from the, sent to us from the planning board on I think it's a subdivision on West Shore.
I've already seen it.
Lions Way?
Yeah.
Huh?
Lions Way? No.
No?
This is
No,
the
it's
early property.
125 property going West Shore.
No, it's not. That's a different piece of property. It's the one right behind that. The one that just got tax auctioned off.
The one that had
Snow?
the house.
The snow house?
Yeah.
It's the one, so it's behind that. It's between that parcel and the next house. They're looking to subdivide it into 2,
Building lots.
yes.
Is that like between where the Snow and Daniel Genovese was?
No, it's snow and behind snow.
Is there another
Yeah.
one?
Is that, I actually looked at that.
So if you look at Snow's piece, then you look at the one directly behind it that was originally owned by Dick Early, Those are the two lots he's looking to subdivide.
So here's, oops, sorry, West Shore Park, is this
So this says Route
125 there? Okay.
Yeah. West Shore Park, and this was probably where the house was, right?
Yeah.
Who's the second house? Oh, okay, there and there.
See, our plan,
Now, was it, it's not in aquifer protection?
should say on the plan.
I don't believe it is.
That should be down here. Supposed to determine that.
Are they just requesting comment or
Yeah.
is? Oh, this must be the updated one. There was some minor, this had already come before the board. There were some minor clerical errors on the drawing.
Cause I know, right there on 125, that's like in the middle of the aquifer protection zone. Okay. We had a, so we got the appointment for that. We're waiting on these. Public hearing from DOT.
So if I make a motion to approve the minutes of August 26th, both public and non-public, as well as the meeting of August 30th.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
Do we do two meetings at the same time? I know we do public and non-public. Can we do two different dates?
I don't know.
Oh, we'll start with the August 26th. Public, non-public.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
And then I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting of August 30th, both public and non-public.
Second.
Second, Dawn?
Yes.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, I see a note in here, Susan, on a letter received from Nancy Pratt.
Make a motion, we go into non-public to discuss a legal matter.
I second that.
Okay, how about if we, so under discussion, why don't we finish up on our agenda, anything that needs to be discussed in non-public, we'll hold off on. How about the, American, the assisted living?
Looks like they got a few things to, how did that, Dennis sent that out to them, telling me he wanted those things done? That punch list?
I'm assuming he's communicated that to him. I don't know if they got that specifically, but I can ask him on Thursday morning.
So,
We don't have a planning board meeting until the 17th.
so normally if they would not do that, we're still holding a part of the bond money, right?
Oh, yeah. And I guess, can you double check with Cindy? I'm thinking about that. We haven't had many requests for release of bond lately.
Well, he would need to sign off on that anyways.
Yeah.
Appears to be that we're in pretty good shape, right?
Yeah, a couple of issues need to be taken care of.
Okay. Get that. Special permit, we got that. Approve the minutes. Okay. Anything, anybody have anything else before we, go to non-public to discuss legal issue?
I haven't had a chance to follow up with anyone, but there was a ZBA meeting on Thursday, and I believe that Diamond Oaks is back on there.
Yes, but this is not a rehearing. It had to be reposted because of the condo, the last I heard. So
Okay,
let me preface anything I said. The last I heard is it had to be renoticed because of the condo document, so it's starting
All
new.
new, okay.
So it's not a rehearing, but I would encourage the members of this, because I still think the same issue is in place there.
Where does that stand? Did they reconsider their decision, or?
So,
Because
the last I heard,
we asked them to reconsider, right?
we asked for a rehearing.
Right?
We were granted a rehearing.
They continued it.
They,
Decide they're gonna reapply.
no, in order to meet one of the concerns that we had, they were changing it to a condo instead of apartments. So it was gonna become a condo. The concern was getting an extension for that versus a rehearing, or a new hearing, because it had to be publicly noticed, because condos are different. Condos act as a subdivision versus apartments do not. Because of that, after consulting with an attorney, he stated that yes, it had to be renoticed, so it's an all-new hearing. It's not a rehearing anymore, it starts
So
new.
they have no approval in place then?
Correct.
Okay.
I believe.
All right. Anything else?
Make a motion, we go into non-public.
Second.
Reference a.
Adam?
Sorry, I have one thing, if I could just have 2 minutes of your time.
Sure.
Apologies. I believe you're all aware, we're having an audio issue right now with the broadcast. YouTube's still working, but nobody's hearing anything on the broadcast. I did contact Access AV, but they said that for just an hour to come out and look at it, it would be $392, and it was suggested to me that I would need a full approval of the board before.
It's gotta be fixed.
Yeah.
Can't.
Is it guaranteed to be fixed for $400?
No.
For an hour?
That is, they're gonna come out, they're going to look at it. If it only takes them an hour, it'll be $392, and then it's whatever to fix it on top of that.
Okay, is that their hourly rate, $394, or is that to make a site visit?
Service call to make the visit, it's gonna, they said it would be 2 techs, travel, mileage, and the hour.
And what's their hourly rate?
They did not break it down for me. If you'd like, I can get back to.
No, I mean, if it takes them some time to fix it, are they gonna bill us at an hourly rate?
Yes, they're going to bill us on, if it takes more than an hour, there will be an additional charge, plus whatever equipment fee. I have an idea what the equipment might be at this point, and that's probably gonna be another $350 if I'm right, but I don't wanna lock myself in on that because I'm not sure.
Gotta be fixed.
I mean, we typically charge a lot for the first hour and then drop to about half the second hour. That's probably what they do.
Okay, so we authorize Adam to,
Okay. Thank you kindly.
Can I just bring up one thing? I know I'm throwing a lot of things we should do in the future out here. But I think we should probably start looking at a warrant article to improve the acoustics in here. Numerous people have complained about this, but I think also getting a projector properly mounted and perhaps, I don't know, an office for the selectmen included with that, maybe put it on a warrant article, see if the people of this town actually want us to professionally manage this operation. Or
I thought we talked about having a bid to go to the warrant about having a sound engineer come in to tell us what we would need to do to make this acoustical.
I did actually look into that. Sorry. Start the whole thing with it. So, I checked with a few sound engineers. None of them that I found that were local, or there was one I believe that was national. They don't do free estimates. So it was we'll come out, we'll do an analysis, but there will be a fee associated with that. So it was it was a situation where we were going to wait for a warrant article to have the money to do that, and then go from there.
How much was the fee associated with coming out and doing an inspection?
I'm trying to remember because this was a bit ago. Could I have 1 second to go check my email? I think I have.
How about you just give it back to us?
Yeah, just let us know.
Oh, okay, I'll let you know.
But I would ask to get a couple of sound engineers to see what they would do.
Yeah, no,
Not just one bid.
yeah, no, it was, again, I did check with, I heard back from 3 companies, and all of them were saying, we can send someone out, it will be some fee to figure out what it would be. So it was, and I have in my mind, it was, again, it wasn't like $50, just look. It was a fairly significant fee, as I recall.
I'm sure.
So, I will get back to you, I'll let Susan know, or I'll just contact.
Thank you. Anything else?
There's a motion on the table.
Yeah. That'll conclude the televised portion of our meeting. Thank you for watching and have a good night. Thank you, Adam.